Welcome to SVL Free News and Views for Monday, March 4th. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I'm here at the new Public Safety Center here on Bristol Drive. We're going to explain why I'm here in just a minute, but I want to thank all of our sponsors. Mitchell College, Randy Marion, Piedmont Healthcare, Blue Harbor Bank, Fast Fields, Key to Escape, the Escape Room, and Statesville Family YMCA. I'm here on the Public Safety Center at Bristol Drive. We're going to talk about what this building is going to mean for Statesville and Iredell County. And shortly, Mike Furman is going to sit down with Kent Greene, the Director of Fire Services and Emergency Management here, and talk about what this building is going to mean for Statesville and Iredell County, and also how it plays a role in emergency preparedness here in Iredell County. Okay, first of all, I want to also remind you to go to svlfreenews.com to sign up for your email edition, which comes out every morning at 5 a.m. Get your news, always local, always free. So let's go to Mike Furman now with Kent Greene, the Director of Fire Services and Emergency Management here in Iredell County.
Right, I'm here inside the Iredell County Public Safety Center with Kent Greene, the Director of Fire Services and Emergency Management. Kent, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, anytime.
So nice to be inside the new complex here. I'm sure it's a much nicer work environment for you and your employees, as well as the EMS employees who are here and the ECOM employees who are moving in the near future. Tell us a little bit about how this new center creates new efficiencies for your department and emergency services in general.
Sure. Under the old system, we were at the old Long Hospital, Fire Marshal and Emergency Management. EMS was, of course, in the old dealership downtown. ECOM at the Hall of Justice building in the basement. So anytime the three public safety departments, not including the sheriff, of course, which is at a different location, wanted to come together for a meeting, everybody had to travel. This allows us to be in the same building under one roof. We've got multiple conference rooms that we can have our joint meetings in. If I have a question for Blair at EMS or she for me, it's a matter of walking down the hall. Same goes for Candy at ECOM. It just improves our ability to communicate locally.
In addition, it's a hardened facility built to withstand.
Parts of the building are hardened. The back part where the Emergency Operations Center and communications are, they are considered hardened. However, the entire building is built to higher seismic and wind standards than a typical office building would be.
And then there's some technology upgrades as well.
Absolutely. With fiber running to the building, communications, once they move in the next few months, new technology, a lot of upgrades to the radio system. It's a long process and it's been a long time coming, but once it's complete, I think the responders and the public all will see the benefits of it.
Okay. Let's talk for a few minutes about Severe Weather Preparedness Week in North Carolina. That's March 3rd through 9th. And tragic reminder over the weekend of how important it is to be prepared. 23 people were killed in tornadoes in Alabama. And we've just had some bizarre weather in the last 8 or 10 months. And talk about what people can do to be prepared and you know, I guess you really need to prepare 12 months out of the year. It's not just a hurricane.
Absolutely. Last year we had the two hurricanes back to back. When they got to Iredell County, they had been downgraded to tropical storms, but we saw a tremendous amount of rain that led to flooding. Then a snowstorm in December that crippled us for a couple of days, is typical in the South. And these tornadoes that can come out of Alabama typically track through North Carolina, western North Carolina. So we always have to be prepared, and it's not just those freak things. A long-term power outage caused by whatever case could leave a family stranded for several days. So always be prepared. Have enough food and water on hand, non-perishable food to last at least 3 days. Make a family emergency kit where you have batteries and flashlights and things like that you can get to quickly. Make sure you have plenty of medicines on hand if you take medications regularly, and make sure to check on your neighbors. This is not just about an internal family, but maybe you have an elderly neighbor that you can check on and make sure that they are equipped to handle an emergency should it arise.
And it's important for people who live in maybe low-lying areas or who live in mobile homes to have a plan if there's a tornado watch or warning, where they're going to go, what they're going to do.
Absolutely. We've done a really good job with our mitigation efforts in either raising homes out of floodplains or moving them from the floodplain areas, but we still have some situations where there may be some storm-related floods. Mobile homes, the absolute worst place to be during a tornado. So those folks that do live in mobile homes, make sure that they have somewhere they can go to if the chance of a tornado is high. lots of times they strike without warning. So make sure that your home is prepared for it, whether it's through strapping or banding or something that will assist in keeping that mobile home from being toppled or destroyed during a tornado. Luckily, we don't see the F3s and F4s, F5s that go through the Midwest, but we've seen here locally that an F2 can completely destroy a mobile home. So
We've had one out in the Cool Springs area, right?
exactly, and did some significant damage to a structure built, a stick-built home as well. So just the sheer power of those storms is it's impressive, but very, very dangerous.
No, we do live in an era where there's more information available than any time in our history, but I think people don't realize the importance of having a weather radio.
Absolutely. That's probably one of the best ways to be notified quickly. You mentioned technology, social media now. The Weather Service is tied into social media. They have the ability to activate phones, the weather or the wireless emergency alert system. But the weather radio in your home, being able to understand when that warning or watches are being issued, may give you that 30 minutes or so, maybe even 15 minutes notice to prepare and get ready for what may be coming. But that's very important, and those are available at most electronic stores or Walmart or just about anywhere.
Now, getting out the word about emergency preparedness is important, and one thing you're spearheading this week is a drill on Wednesday. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is the statewide tornado drill we do every year during severe weather preparedness week. All the school systems in Iredell County, including Mitchell Community College, are participating on Wednesday morning at 9:30. Most of us remember going through it as a child in elementary school, where we go into the hall and crouch down and put a book over our heads. We do things a little differently now, but it's still the same concept. We want to get to a protected area, make sure that our children are aware and trained on what to do should that arise. Again, Wednesday at 9:30, with the exception of some elementary schools. Some have testing, some have kindergarten registration, so they will either take place on Thursday or Friday. Check with your school system, and they'll let you know when that's occurring.
Okay, very good. Now, we couldn't let an opportunity pass by to talk to you a little bit about the proposal to change the fire tax. I know there's a slight increase also, but could you explain a little bit the current fire tax system, the proposed changes, and how you believe those will be beneficial to all county residents?
Sure. And you said it right. This is a proposal. It's not been voted on by the commissioners. No action has been taken. We'll have a meeting with the fire chiefs later this month to get their feedback after we've now had the winter retreat with the county commissioners. But the way we're set up right now is basically 5 different taxing areas. The countywide service district, Mount Morton voted tax district, Shepherd's voted tax district, Troutman voted tax district, and the East Alexander or Stony Point voted tax district. Everybody is at 7 cents right now. That's the tax rate that is paid on $100 of valuation of your property, except for Mount Morton, and they're, I believe, at 6 or 6 1/4, the lowest rate in the county. And they still provide a very high level of service at that rate. The proposal would essentially expand the service district to cover all properties within the county, except within the town of Mooresville and the city of Statesville.
Okay.
So everybody who is right now paying either 6 or 7 cents would see a increase to 8 cents.
Okay.
Understanding that the fire departments have not seen a rate increase in nearly a decade. And when compared to counties surrounding us, most are at above 10 cents. I believe Cheryl's Ford this year is asking for a 3-cent increase. And again, the commissioners in Catawba County have not taken action on that, but we do see a lot of departments around us at 15 cents, which is the statutory limit on fire tax. So what this does is it increases by 1 cent on the $100 valuation. It plans not for this year or next year, but for 20 to 30 years out. It gives us an idea of what we can expect to see as we progress through changes in demographics, changes in population density, changes in annexation, and gives us a base from where to plan the future for fire protection.
So roughly that's about $20 a year per household.
Roughly. On a typical home in Iredell County, which I believe is averaged around $250,000, then that would mean about $20 per year on a tax bill.
So part of what's driving this is the need to staff more fire departments with employees, whether they're part-time or full-time, and rely a little less on volunteers?
We would prefer not to do that, but that's the situation we found ourselves in. Volunteerism, not just in Iredell County, but statewide and nationally, has declined. Just recently, within a couple of months ago, the state of Pennsylvania declared an emergency based on the lack of volunteers for their fire departments. We're quickly approaching that same situation here. Iredell County is diverse, from the southern third of the county, which is more densely populated, residential commercial, to the central part of the county, which is residential industrial, to the northern part that is rural and agricultural. What we have found nationally is those communities that are predominantly rural, agricultural, have a better volunteer base. Those that are more densely populated have a lower volunteer base. So that's why the departments in southern Iredell County do have more part-time, round-the-clock, daytime staffing to assist in handling those calls when they know the volunteers aren't available. South Iredell is a good example of a department that is sort of alienated in the South, if you will, because they still have a really good volunteer program. They still have a good junior program, a residency program. So they're doing a lot of things right to make sure that their volunteerism stays in place for the foreseeable future. As the southern part of the county grows, we do expect to have some problems in that area, but they're doing a really good job of holding on to it as long as they can.
So this is something the county commissioners have been discussing for some time. They're getting input from fire chiefs. I'm sure there'll be public hearings before they enact a tax increase, and it's important that our residents just learn as much as they can about this, learn how this can benefit their families, and then, if necessary, support it.
Absolutely. And I don't know exactly what the formal process is for the commissioners, because they do serve as the fire tax commissioners. So setting that tax rate is completely within their purview. But I would urge citizens, residents, responders alike to ask questions. Get as much information as you can, and for those of you that don't understand the volunteerism and the lack of volunteerism, I'm sure every department in this county would be glad to take an application from you that believe that we don't need more money to make this work.
Right.
We're quickly getting to an area that we're going to have to put on more part-time people, and in some cases full-time folks. So volunteerism is by far the cheapest method, but again, we'll be glad to take an application for anyone who's willing to volunteer and help us out.
Okay. Kim, thanks for joining us today.
My
Appreciate it.
pleasure. My pleasure.